antigen showing up in my urine. When my wife first got diagnosed, we went to this doctor and he said, well, you have it too. And I did a Western blot and some veins showed up, and I'm just not sick. So then I took bicillin intramuscular and I collected 3 urine samples and Lyme antigen showed up in my urine. And that is 15 years ago. I took antibiotics for 3 weeks, but I didn't feel any worse nor better. Does that make sense? And that's the idea. What we start learning more, it's not necessarily only about do you have the bug or don't you have the bug, but it's what is that bug doing with you and how do we figure out, or what are these combination of bugs? See, and that is why we see that whatever antibiotic protocols we have, how hard we hit it, however long, that there are always people that don't get better. And it's not only about the bug, it's about your immune system. And that is it's the concept of looking at that is so foreign to us medical doctors who are trained in this linear way. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. You know, why doctors are so difficult looking at Lyme, because when you start as a regular physician, start looking at this, you have to either acknowledge that you don't know anything, which is very painful. And you know, you're under pressure. You know, your patients expect that you know something, and then there's some legal things looking at you. Does that make sense? And then there's the financial pressure that you have to see so many patients. You know, so then the ones that want to look at it, I always say they look at that little Lyme room, they stick their head to look around, and if I step in there, my whole life is going to change. And then many of them say, no, thank you. You know, and I find it always conventional doctors, yeah, the orthopedists have much less trouble recognizing chronic Lyme. The neurologists mostly don't have such a problem with it. The cardiologists don't have a problem with it. You know who has a problem with it? The internists, the infectious disease specialists, and the pediatricians. Why? Because they would be responsible for treating it. And it's like stepping into a hornet's nest as far as the way they function within the organization. You know, it's easy to acknowledge it. But when you don't need to have anything, you know, you don't need to treat it, then it's easier to acknowledge it. Does that make sense? So it's a very interesting, I mean, I understand how difficult this is. This is not fun. You know, there's many times I said, I hate art. But it's part of this whole picture. So any other questions? Yeah.
Do you have any of your patients experienced electrical sensitivities?
What sensitivity?
Have any of your patients experienced electrical sensitivities?
Oh, well, many, yeah.
And if so, how do you find that in treating the whole system that sort of takes care of itself?
Many of them that improves, yeah.
Or especially mold. I've heard a great big connection between EMF and mold exposure.
Mold toxins, yeah. Those are two very difficult things. The EMF sensitivities and mold toxicity. I find a lot of people who are sensitive to mold, that when you get the adrenals better and the gut better, that often things do improve. Mm-hmm. You know, that is sometimes the hard part, that you get focused on that one thing, and yes, it's there. Mm-hmm. You know, like for example, when you look at sensitivities, I have many people that have seasonal allergies, and as they get older, they get worse and worse. Mm-hmm. And then they come to a doctor like me, and you clean their gut up, you cut some foods out, you treat them for years, and suddenly the environmental allergies don't bother them. Mm-hmm. It's like a total load phenomena. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I call it like it's a bucket.
Yeah. And
the bucket is filled by stress and chemicals and, you know, mold and Lyme and whatever it is, and it's running over. Mm-hmm. And many various things can make it worse. Now, there are a very small category of people that are extremely sensitive to mold. Very difficult issue. Very difficult issue. And I'm kind of interested to see, I haven't really worked with somebody like what ozone could do with this. Because, you know, ozone helps cells work better.
I thought that the ozone not only killed the bug, but also neutralized the toxins.
Well, it does. I mean, that is an ozone-based air cleaner. We know they neutralize, but you know, you're talking about in the body.
Right.
But you see, and there's a difference. Like, for example, talking about yeast or mold. I've had yeast for 20 years. Right here, and then when I eat bad, it bloats a little bit, and then I take something, it gets better. While my wife has not only that, but she has yeast sensitivity. So whenever she eats a little sweet, everything gets worse. You know what I'm saying? So it's not only yeast overgrowth and creating that, which then affects me a little bit when it's really bad, but then it's almost like you're at the same time your immune system is reacting to it.
Yes.
So there are various ways how these, and then there's of course mold can make toxins,
Yes.
neurotoxins, very, very different. And so there are various ways of detoxing that. You know, I found that you may have probably read about the whole thing with Questran, and I mean, I found people got so sick with that. I had to stop it. Everybody got sick. You know, I couldn't somehow, you know, sometimes we have a theory about something and we try to deal with it and people get worse. Does that answer your question? Somewhat?
Somewhat.
Yes.
Have you ever used glutathione suppositories and they're helpful?
I haven't, but you can, yeah. You can use it, some of them have creams somewhat, and you can use precursors, you can use it IV, so there's various things you can do. Yeah. Yes.
Regarding co-infections and Lyme, do you feel it's important to address the co-infections first or try to address both?
It depends, you know, it really depends. I often try to make choices that cover both. Like if you have Bartonella and I use azithromycin, covers that some, you know, you try to choose various antibiotics that cover both, and you have to kind of look at what the prominent symptoms are. You know, there is a certain amount of, you know, kind of, you know, some say, well, oh, that symptom is that bug, and that symptom is that, and you got to treat this first. And often it's based on individual physicians that had a certain experience in the way they worked with it, and then they write it down, and it gets online, and then, you know, people say, well, oh, no, you got to treat Babesia first, or when you don't treat Bartonella first, and you never. And in my experience doing this for 17 years, it's so individual. You know, what people can tolerate, how you work with them. You know, in the end, what all counts is that the patient is feeling better and better and better. You know, and then you can start. But in the end, even if the patient gets better, they always have to keep doing stuff to stay well. Just like anybody who gets old, I have to do more work to stay where I'm at than I had to do 20 years ago. More work. Does that make sense? But it's with an ill body, but it doesn't mean, I don't mean with that antibiotic or antibiotic herbs. Yeah, and that's what I find sometimes when you focus on constantly on killing, and then suddenly somebody does a little bit about the adrenals and then suddenly you get better. So that is always when people come to me and have done a lot of things, I always say, what's the missing link? What are the things that that person hasn't looked at that I can find, you know, symptoms and or something on a test that I can work with that suddenly might even make these antibiotics work better. So it's always, you know, and some of it is intuitive and some of it is based on testing and experience. Yeah. Good. Yes.
Can Lyme in the neurological system show up as lesions in the brain when you do a brain MRI?
Well, you know, people have white spots, you know, and they say, oh, it's either Lyme or it's MS. And I have to say that I had a lady that I saw back, but we were talking at staff meeting this morning about that. This young woman came to, and she had all these white spots on her brain. She had, you know, numbness and tingling in both of her feet. And she was diagnosed with MS, and she came here, and I found she had Lyme disease. And we treated her with antibiotics for a year. And we did a lot of ozone. And I did food allergies, and her adrenals were low, and she is just, you know, she's running 8 miles 3 times a week. Doing fine for the last 2 years.
How much ozone?
Huh?
How much ozone?
Well, we did a lot of ozone, 2-3 times a week.
In the sauna?
Huh? No, we did it direct IV. And there's actually, I'm going to an ozone conference in 3 weeks where there's a doctor from Italy, Simonetti is his name. And he's done a lot of work with ozone and MS.
Where's the conference?
Huh?
Where's the conference?
It's in Las Vegas.
Okay, we can go.
It's in Las Vegas, and so I'm going to go there. I wonder what his protocol is.
Yes.
I cannot imagine that he does any form of ozone that I can't do. But you always like to do, what did you do around it? You know, because it's never about one thing. Does that make sense? So, so I'm excited about that.
Me too.
Yeah.
Vegas.
Yes.
So, what do you recommend for pain relief?
Well, you know, I always say stay away from narcotics. My big thing, stay away. I tell you, I've seen people and by the time they come in, they're on narcotics. You can't get them off. It messes everything up. And they don't really help that much. You know, so what I do find is when you start working with your adrenals, you gut foods and you clean the gut up, often pain reduces. And then I use anti-inflammatories, you know. I use Wellafin a lot. That seems to work okay. You know, sometimes I use a few other medications, but I use Wellafin, you know, 750 milligrams a day. So you can take them both at bedtime, and people sleep better. When you sleep better, you have less pain. And you know, when the pain is more localized, we find sometimes that laser therapy. You know, the problem with some of these additional therapies is that they cost time and money. You know, that is a problem. You know, you can't have people come in and then they have to do, you know, they can't pay for 4 therapies. It's, you know, and some of the Lyme doctors and clinics, you go there and you pay $20,000 and they do all of that all the time, and then people get better, but that's a difficult issue. You know, and that is something that we deal with every day. You know, you have to, you know, all of it costs time and money, and you have to deal with the reality of people. You know, you can't, you know, but on the other hand, you have to do enough of something too. So it's always a juggling act. You know, we try to work with people, and you know, I have to say that many of the people, like that lady that had the MS, she just did whatever I told her to do. But you know, when if that lady would have said, can't afford it, can't make it, you know, then I would have probably done less, and I don't know whether she could have gotten better. But you know, but not, you know, most people I don't do, or don't have to do all these things. You know, but there is a big part that people have to do at home, and that is often very difficult. With their diet, get a little, you know, sometimes I visit after visit, I keep talking about the mini trampoline.
We have one of those.
And they don't do it. I know, the kids use it, it's in the basement somewhere, in the garage. Does it make sense? But
Can't
there's
you
things
use
like
the
that.
whole body vibrational plate too?
Yeah, I'm familiar with it. I haven't, you know, I don't have any experience.
Because I'm a big girl, I don't like jumping on that.
Yeah,
trampoline.
no, I get
I
it.
have it.
But
I'll-
it's not. You know, what I do is I'm not jumping up and
You
down.
can rock, you don't have to
Yeah,
jump.
yeah,
can
your feet
walk.
are still on
You
it.
can
Yeah.
just-
Yeah, and it actually.
Or I
not,
can get on that whole body vibrational
Yeah.
plate and hit a button.
Well, if you have it, that's great.
Yeah,
But you know, those things cost a couple of $1,000s.
yeah,
too.
it does. It does.
Does that make
It
sense?
did.
Good. Yes.
A couple other questions. I hear a lot about the pH of the system.
Yes.
In other words, drinking these alkaline waters with all, do you find that to be a good thing and helpful?
Lemon juice, green drinks. I give people often baking soda. Baking soda.
Well, that's
Unreacted,
adrenal.
or do you react it before you drink it?
Huh?
You react it with some lemon juice first?
No, you can actually just open it and sometimes Alka-Seltzer Gold, you know, that is fizzy tablet.
But that's got citric in it.
You know, when people have hives, for example, they break out high. You know, most chronic ill people are acidic,
Right.
at least in the urine and the saliva. And so anything you could do to alkalinize, of
But
course.
we're
clean
spending
up.
two. I mean, we go to the Whole Foods and everything. They want $2 a bottle for this 9 pH. I mean, is it really worth it? Does it actually?
Well, that's why I say try
I mean,
maybe
it
some
gets
baking
expensive.
soda, you know, that's cheap.
You can
Instead of-
alkalize your own water by just putting
Well,
minerals
yeah,
in.
but they say it's all natural. I don't know.
Well, I know, you know,
Yeah.
you know, the whole, it's a business
put
too,
baking
you know, I get it, there's a lot of expensive, all right, you know, Tessa there drinks wheatgrass juice, and we get it frozen from Canada. You know, it helped her a lot. You know, these little frozen cubes, I don't know what they cost. How many do we get for $600? How many of those? How many ounces? I mean, huge amount. Cost maybe $1 an ounce. But fresh wheatgrass, flash frozen. But it's, you know, that, and they come in sheets and you just break them, and so
They
there are
have that at
various
Whole
things. But
Foods.
yes, the answer is yes. Trying to alkalinize the body is a good thing. Absolutely.
And follow up, that's, people with, I have chemical sensitivities
Yes.
and don't I'm not sure if you deal with the genetics where they show that your body literally cannot detoxify.
You mean the MTHFR, right?
Well, yeah, but there's other.
But it's more
genes too.
complex,
It's
yeah.
much more complex, where your
Yeah.
body literally can't detox mycotoxins and
Yes.
neurotoxins and such like that, and don't tolerate pharmaceutical drugs.
Yes,
So you
yes.
find that, using these ozone therapies and other things are more well tolerated, and that they could then eventually tolerate the drugs, or?
Well, I haven't really worked with that. I did this whole MTA, that was like the thing in the last few years, and I do it and everybody has it. It's
Yeah.
like, and whatever they told you to do on it, I do anyhow. I do glutathione, and I do all these things anyhow, but these really specific things. I had one lady who was told by her other doctor, don't do ozone, and we did ozone, and it really helped her a lot. Those things I kind of go in trial. When a person comes in that's sensitive, I just do a little bit. We'll see what happens. A little more. See what happens. And it's very hard to know the chemistry or know that up front. Does it make sense? Sometimes you just say, hey, that makes sense. Let's move into that direction.
Yeah.
And see what happens. And then you do a little more, And sometimes people say, wow, that much helps me, but that makes me worse. And so it's all about balancing and dosing. Yeah, but these things are there's so much we don't know about all this complex chemistry and the way it all works together. When you say electromagnetic fields, people get sick from smart meters, but most of them don't.
We're covering ours, tomorrow.
I
with,
know.
Aluminum shield and.
Yeah,
And then check, we had the meter up there and reduced it from, 10
Yeah.
to a 0.5.
To other
Yeah.
people, you look like you're nuts.
Yeah, but
Which
it
one
makes
did you
a big
buy?
difference.
There's
There's a shield
We
that
didn't
you'll-
buy the shield, we're just making around.
You are.
You can buy.
YouTube,
yeah,
we want
yeah.
YouTube.
Okay.
Good.
Well, you can buy it for how much though? $100 I heard,
Yeah.
but you can make it for like $5. And it worked.
You'll
You
feel
make it
better.
out
You'll
of
feel
like
better.
aluminum foil or
You'll
something
feel better.
stronger?
I hope so.
Well, thank you so much for coming. Yeah,
Yeah.
if anybody has specific, I have a phone now between 7 and 7:30, Monday to Thursday. If you have questions, I don't give medical advice to people I don't know, but we use that hour. If people have any other more specific personal questions or thinking, can I help you or not? And I use it also for existing patients if they have problems. So because you try to deal with things as they come along. Yeah? On our website, we have a questionnaire on the website drmobiles.com. There is under forms, there's a questionnaire. So if you're interested coming to this office, there's a 24-page questionnaire. You have to fill it out, you can email it to us, have a look at it, because I always want to have a look, make sure I have some chance of being able to help you. Because I don't want people coming and they spend their money and their time, and then I really, can't help them. And often, what the staff, when we get somebody call up, they say, well, why don't you call him and do his phone hour and chat with him a few minutes, because I get an idea, and you get an idea what I do. Does that make sense? Because this may be comprehensive, but this is almost overwhelming so much, but these are all things that one can work with, but you have to always individualize with them.
Will you show us your song?
Yeah, we can.
Oh, yeah, let's see the sauna.